Hello, friends. This is Kevin Fredericks. That's my name. This is my aunt, my very own aunt. If you were here in Vegas, you may have seen her. Beck, do you have a laptop or something I could plug my phone into?
Possibly. Is this Periscope?
Yeah, Brandon Clack. I totally forgot to hit you. I got to my hotel and fell asleep.
Hey, Brandon.
I was supposed to hit you up for lunch. What's up, y'all? Adara, what up? Wagwan. Late Night Scope. I'm in Houston. This is my cousin Rebecca. She is a black woman.
Yeah.
She works at Buffalo Wild Wings. She is likes boys. She is.
I'm smart.
She's smart.
Y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
No,
just Instagram.
Skinny Becca is her name.
Skinny_Becca.
Skinny _Becca. She is also skinny. Her mom was Miss Black El Paso in 1985. 1993. This is my cousin. Come here, Josh. This is my cousin Joshua. They all were here. He has dreadlocks, kind of.
Sort of. Starting.
He's very smart.
Very.
Incredibly
Going to
intelligent.
school this year.
He's a jerk, but we love him.
Also talented.
Very talented. He plays the guitar. He sings a little bit. He doesn't wear lotion. He said he ain't been wearing lotion so long that his body is immune to ash. So we're gonna see. He ain't even ashy though, so maybe maybe that's all we need to do is just be like, nah, I rebuke you therefore, Ash. Anyway, he been growing his hair for a long time. He look like Kendrick Lamar. We gonna be all right. All right. So this is my family. I just had gumbo, stuffed bell peppers. My aunt was so gracious, kind to make it for me because she knew I was coming in to Houston.
You are so vain.
My dad's in there. They all lived in New Orleans. Yeah, they do. My parents were on Periscope. Oh boy, it was rough.
It's almost as bad as your mom.
But anyway, they all lived in New Orleans until Hurricane Katrina. This was what, September 2005?
It was August 29th, 2005.
August 29th, 2005. Okay, I actually haven't talked to them in detail about this ever. So
You're gonna make my mama cry.
Basically.
I'm gonna punch you in your throat.
I'm not. I don't want to make you cry. I just want to learn.
Let me go and get them.
Get the tissue.
Okay, who's this?
Did you make my mama cry?
I didn't see him. Okay, he's blocked. I got you. Don't worry about it, guys. Okay, first question, Andy. Do you miss New Orleans? How was it before Katrina?
Do I miss New Orleans? Yes. Before Katrina, it was a very southern city.
Yes.
A very southern city.
I actually went. The last memory I have of your house in New Orleans, prior to the storm, was eating stuffed bell peppers. Actually,
Is it when we play jump rope?
it was jump rope. Yeah.
Those pictures when we all play jump rope?
She just made stuffed bell peppers for your boy too. I ate too much. Let me tell you something. Calories don't count when you're out of town. If your aunt makes macaroni and cheese and collard greens and gumbo and stuffed bell peppers, you eat it. Okay, so you do miss New Orleans?
Certainly.
I think the other part of the question was how was this? It was very, very southern.
Very southern.
Have you seen Treme?
The show?
Treme?
Yeah, the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly like New Orleans.
And how realistic was it? I watched a couple seasons.
In some ways, very realistic. I don't know. It just seems like whenever they do shows about New Orleans, they give everyone these crazy accents that
People don't have.
Yeah, we really.
People from New Orleans do say baby.
No, but
Okay,
here's the thing about it.
right.
Most people
Baby.
don't have a really strong accent. Like,
And you say baby though, it comes out.
okay,
Right,
but
baby.
I mean,
Big-
it's the
New Orleans baby.
it's really just the
What happened at the
words
New
that-
Orleans?
It's the words that we use.
It's the word.
Bum, bum, bum.
But it's colloquialism.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the words that are New Orleans words?
Like
Was
that,
am.
baby.
Was am, baby. I
was
can't get
am.
both of you guys.
React.
Becca, I need you to go around. Yeah.
Oh, because I'm skinny.
Whoa,
react,
there, where
and
you at?
word, yeah.
Ooh, there. So basically everything the hot boys say.
Basically.
Manny Fresh.
Weezy, baby.
Think
Manny
Manny
Fresh.
Fresh, Birdman. No, scratch that. Juvenile.
Oh my goodness.
He's probably the
Absolutely.
best example of
He is so New Orleans.
how a New Orleans dude would talk. or talks like.
Or speaks. Should be probably.
Josh
Oh, yeah.
looked like Lil Wayne when Lil Wayne first started. That's about how long his dreads were. The hot boy on fire. Man, okay, what was the other question? Y'all put the questions in. I'm sorry, I'm talking.
Slow.
I missed a couple of good questions.
Where are the
Did you try and leave before? Okay, so you said the question is, did you try to leave before Katrina hit? So you said August 29th?
Right. So that's when the water hit. We actually left because I had to report for duty in San Antonio. So
Report for duty for what?
for the Air Force.
Oh, I forgot.
So I had to report for duty, and I had Rebecca and Josh and Shay
was
and
a
her
widow
girls, and we actually ended up on the Air Force Base. And when I finished what I had to do, Colonel called me back in the office and said, "You can't leave." I'm like, "Why not?" And we couldn't leave because they showed us on the screen, and it was a
But you couldn't
picture.
leave New Orleans?
We couldn't leave San Antonio because he said the water has.
Oh, you
hit
were
the
in
city.
San Antonio when it happened?
Yeah.
Wait, had you evacuated, or you just happened to not be in New Orleans at the time?
We left at the last minute.
Oh, so you did evacuate, and you were about to go back.
Yes.
So wait, did you think there was not about to? Did you think the storm had passed?
The storm had passed.
The water broke out.
Wait, I thought it happened.
No.
Oh, you're
So-
right. You're right. The
Right.
levees, when the levees broke.
Because when the storm passed, everything was fine. So it's really kind of difficult because people say, "Oh, people just should have left," but in all actuality, the storm passed.
Mm,
When the levees broke is when the water hit the city.
got it. So when was that? Because I watched the Spike Lee documentary and I cried many a tear.
August 29th.
Oh, that was the same day?
2005 is the day the levees broke.
So so the storm was over.
Right.
The levees broke. No more rain.
Correct.
But just all the because like New Orleans is built like
In a
like a
basin.
bowl. Yeah. I do remember being there when we went to Battle of the Bands that year. I remember it rained like not even that much, and I was like, dude, there's water everywhere.
Right.
And this was just like a regular. Not even like a storm. This is just like regular like rain day, and I was like, this city is not really built well for like to get
Under sea level. So
Yeah.
Which
I
is
just
why
want
they
to point
had.
out that it floods definitely more here in Houston
Oh, absolutely.
than it did in New Orleans. I just want to
Absolutely.
point that out
100%.
because the streets are pretty bad.
Man,
So
100%.
That's
I mean,
bad
it would get
infrastructure,
bad,
though.
but here it's totally worse. But
That's
not
like
our
bad city planning.
Yeah,
That's not actually on account of the storms.
So here's a question I got a lot. Do you guys like Houston?
No.
Not really.
Is it because of Houston or is it because of New Orleans?
A little bit because of Houston.
Josh, you got a couple.
Okay, so
You're over
here's the
here. I
thing.
can't. I'm doing the most. I need you to be behind right here. Come on, be a good cousin.
You were never a good cousin.
Houston is huge, and it's a little different. People talk about Texas, the people are friendly, but it's really, really different. You can survive, not just survive, but you could live on less than $20,000 a year in New Orleans because the cost of living was so different here.
Yeah.
Everything is about rules and regulations, and everything is taxed, and
There's no real
totally
Southern
different.
hospitality here.
No.
I actually didn't know that Houston was known for that because I have not. I come here like at least once a year.
But the thing about it is, like, I don't know why. This is my personal opinion. Why Texas even believes that it's the South, it's the West.
Texas is really Texas.
It's just
It's just
it's
Texas.
just
There
Texas.
really isn't no other place in the United States that is like Texas.
Yeah,
Not at all.
and that's the thing about it.
Yeah.
It's like you get here and people are like, "It's Southern, it's all the same," or my favorite, "Oh, it's been 10 years, you should be over it." And it's like
Right.
Houston will never really be home. Like it's like a second home. Like I have good friends here. I've met like some great people. I go to school out here, but you can never replace your hometown.
Right.
And yet I would never go back.
You wouldn't go back.
No.
Why?
It's not the
go.
same.
No,
It's
it's been
not the
gentrified.
same.
Yeah,
I was reading an article about this is like late last year how I can't think of the politician's name, but basically like the politicians took advantage of Katrina and was like, "Oh, we're about to raise the rate, we're about to raise rent, all that music, all that loud music." Y'all forget, like New Orleans was one of the few cities where a musician could make a living
Absolutely.
just being a musician prior to the storm. and now it's not the case.
You go to the projects, the projects look like apartments. Like
it's been gentrified like crazy.
And you see a lot of it here too, but like out there, it's kind of, and it's weird because you go back and it's like, because I go back more often than Mom and Josh, but it's weird. Like sometimes it's like you see certain things and it's like
taqueras.
Yeah, weird things like that. It's like, why would you
burrito check?
Like a
sounds
taco weird.
Oh, taquerias.
Yeah,
Before Katrina, there was none of that.
No taco trucks?
No taco trucks.
The closest Hispanic food was Taco Bell and my mother's cooking. So,
but it's just like you go back and you see certain things and it's like, wow, like. You know, it's home and it gives you memories, but then you see other things, like there's still like a lot of houses
that still have the boards.
They have
and
boards
the spray
of
paint.
the spray
paint.
Yeah,
it's like they use them. And here's the thing I didn't know, and you guys can tell me if this is true or not, Becca, especially you and Big Back. It's like a portion of New Orleans was really badly damaged, right? Then they get all this money to fix it, and they fix a part that wasn't damaged and leave the part that was damaged. Yeah. Like where the poor people, they was like, yeah, y'all can keep, like that stuff is still damaged, and they built up a part of New Orleans that wasn't damaged.
So what they continued to do was rebuild and make more perfect the tourist attractions and the tourist areas. But when you continue to go to Gentilly and you continue to go to the Lower Nine and you continue to go to New Orleans East, it's like the saying for New Orleans used to be the city that care forgot. But when you look at it now, you realize that actually it's, you know, a city where the rest of America forgot to care.
Yeah.
Stop caring.
And they there's like all these articles last year like, oh, it's the revival of New Orleans. Like, bro, this part wasn't broken.
And it's so weird though. I think for me, because like my last trip there was like a couple weeks ago, and I was riding right across the French Quarters with my dad, and then you see like how they're just like taking all of these like houses like that have been there for like years and years and years, like black neighborhoods, and you go in there and you don't see a person of color inside. Like we would, and there's like a farmer's market type thing. They have like organic stuff and like weird type of,
but not like it used to be.
Yeah, it's like organic. It's like you would go to a Whole Foods.
Yeah.
But it's different when it's like weird like Food Network type stuff instead of just like legit. Grandma or mama went and made this, you know, pot of gumbo, or you know what I mean. But instead, it's like, and then they try and portray this image. So then a lot of tourists or people who aren't from New Orleans or who weren't in New Orleans before Katrina are like, "Oh, this is great." And then it's like the people who haven't moved back or whatever the case might be, they feel some type of way. Like I had a lot of friends like. After Katrina, like when they first started letting people move back in, like a lot of my friends, their moms were like, "I finna go back," and they went back and ended up right back here in Houston because stuff wasn't right.
The infrastructure still has not been reestablished.
Oops, sorry.
And it's something I say to my friends a lot because I feel like they don't understand. It's very easy to be like, "Oh well, I don't get to go back home to like Mexico or whatever," because I have a lot of friends who go back home during breaks for that. And they're like, I don't get to go back home for that very often as much as I like, and there's so much so on and so forth going on over there. But it's completely different because what my problem is like I can't go back home. Like I can go back to the physical location, but home isn't the idea anymore.
And that's one thing I want to touch on after that. Two things. One, I remember talking to you, Andy, right after, and you were like, imagine you leave your house and you come back and your job is gone. Like the physical building is gone. The school that your kids went to is gone. The apartment that you went to is gone. Like that's almost worse. Like the city's still there, but it doesn't feel like those whole things are like ridiculous. Like how does that feel to have those whole things like be gone like that?
To go back to I remember it was Columbus Day, around the 11th of October of 2005 when we first got to go back into the city. And it was so crazy because I met up with some friends and I remember going to the house, but there were articles. I needed to make sure that there was a picture of a bishop friend of mine who was in Baltimore. I had a picture of him at the house. I had a picture of the kids. And I had something from Granny Bate. And I went in the house to make sure that was there.
Right.
And never even thought about looking to see if everything else was okay. I remember meeting up with Jen, and we went to the church. 1937. I mean, this is Beacon Light. And all I could do was cry. The water was, still dripping in the ceiling, so you could just hear all of that. There was water everywhere, and all I could think about was all the kids that used to go to worship childcare, and it's not the same anymore. And you try to pick up the pieces, and you try to move on, but there's just still a piece of you that's missing. Yeah,
I can't even this is not the same at all. But it's like when I go back to Washington, my parents are gone, Melissa's family's gone, Jay's gone. I liken it to that. Like, this feels like the same city, but everything you knew in that city doesn't exist, so it doesn't feel like the same city.
Yeah, it's almost like a pseudo rapture.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And this might be a bit too personal for Mother here.
So then don't say it.
Not personal in that matter. I just don't want you to feel bad, but you're gonna feel bad anyway because we're talking about New Orleans. But I remember one of the first trips. It was actually just me and Mom. I don't remember where Rebecca was, but me and Mom went down to New Orleans, and we went to go see some of our stuff, like her old workplace and the Mother Church. And I just remember, with the Mother Church, there just being water everywhere, and just walking down the hallways and it feeling like really desolate, like it just wasn't gonna get repaired. And of course, the Mother Church has been repaired as far as to my knowledge, but it's not the same, obviously.
Still talking about Beacon Light in 1937.
And as far as her workplace, some of our stuff were due to my mom's friends. They were actually able to get some of our stuff after the flood hit, and they moved it up there. And it's just like, I remember just kind of going through all the stuff that used to be in our house, or what used to be our house,
right?
And all of it just being kind of like waterlogged and ruined, and just like the best thing I could compare it to is like walking through a graveyard.
Right.
Best thing you can describe it to is The Walking Dead. That's basically
right.
It was like.
Two questions. Sorry.
2 questions.
2 questions that I saw. One, how do you feel about President Bush? And the second one is, why did you choose Houston?
Okay, so how do I feel about President Bush? Even after serving in the military under him, can't really say that I care for him a lot, but I think that's just politics. I think that he missed an opportunity to show that he did care, and that it wasn't about race, and it wasn't about politics, and it wasn't about finances. He missed a major opportunity that he stepped down in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's what he said in his book, that the worst part of his presidency is that that picture where he was flying over New Orleans.
Yeah, flying over.
And it's just like,
bruh. That was painful.
How you? Even for so here, this might seem crass, and I don't mean it to be. Even if you're just playing politics, you land the plane and you shake a hand and you kiss a baby.
Right. That's why.
Like, even if you don't really care, you can't fly over and let somebody take a picture.
Respect for General Henry when he came and put that gun down.
Yeah, like, bruh, you can't
stand down, soldier.
Yeah.
That was what, people needed, because it wasn't about...
Kiss a baby. Like, dude, even if it's a political opportunity.
Us, refugees, dog.
Oh, my God.
From here, born and raised.
That used to bother me, too.
American.
Right.
And what was your other question?
Why Houston? People ask what part of Houston you live in, and why Houston.
Okay.
Because a lot of people came from Houston to Houston.
Let's be fair. The history of Houston is based on a whole bunch of people from Louisiana.
Yes.
That being established.
Very true. Prior to Katrina.
Because
it's only, 4 hours, right? Or 5 hours?
Yes.
It's 4 hours, 3 hours if you know how to drive.
Don't care what you say. If your grandma and them are from Louisiana,
right.
Your roots, I don't care what you say, your roots are from Louisiana.
That's very true.
But here we are in Houston. The truth of the matter is, after Hurricane Katrina, I was very, very... connected to the church that I attended, to Beacon Light, and they had a church here, and we were coming up once or twice a month for services, and there were job opportunities here that obviously we did not have on the far west side of Texas, and not being in the military anymore.
Right.
I felt like at least being in Houston, it was the biggest city closest to, that route going back to New Orleans. So the kids would still have that connect to the family members who did go back. Beaumont, even though we had family there, it was a little small.
Very
and so
small.
you have to look at things like that.
Ain't not many
children.
Fortune 5. There's a lot of Fortune 500 companies here.
Right. So you have to look at that as a parent. Where is it going to be best for my children? Where can they be best educated?
No colleges and universities in Beaumont.
Lamar.
No colleges and universities in Beaumont.
Damn you. Okay, but there were definitely more opportunities academically for the children here. There were more opportunities for me job-wise here.
Yeah, definitely.
But Houston is I don't care what people say, Houston is very much a city about who you know. It's all about who you know when it comes to...
So is LA.
Yeah, getting employed.
Yes.
So thank God for placing people in your life who can get you where you need it to be.
Right. Okay, guys, more questions. I saw a couple, but I forgot them because I'm trying to listen to my aunt, too, because I don't know the answers to this stuff. Somebody said, how many people do you think are in Houston that were displaced from...
Definitely a lot. Definitely a lot. A lot of us ended up in A-Leaf, which is where we are now.
Is that a part of town?
It is.
Yeah.
What's that? What does A-Leaf mean?
It's just like southwest side of town.
Oh, okay.
A-Leaf, like Sugarland, A-Leaf.
Sugarland, I know.
El Paso, Horizon City, Van Horn,
Got it.
A lot of us were in A-Leaf.
This city is stupid big, by the way.
It really is.
I have been here for like 8 hours, and I've been on 700 freeways.
Yes, you
59 south, 610 north.
And if you don't know the names of them, you don't realize that it's all the same
it's
freeway. Yeah.
Stupid 8,
But
tollway 8,
there's
16,
still
9,
a lot of people
10.
here, but there are a lot of people who have gone home
To New Orleans?
to New Orleans. Lots of people have gone back home, trying to make a life.
Couple more questions, guys. My arm is starting to hurt. I'm from Marrero.
Well,
My auntie was in ministry. Yeah, she was in the military. Oh, reaction to the Beyonce video, Formation. Did you have any?
Women can be in formation too.
What?
Everybody can be in formation.
That's not for white women.
But I'm just saying, everyone said it was so racist. It wasn't racist. It was just music.
That's not what I wanted you to say.
You want me to be honest or not?
No, be honest.
Boy! You do realize I'm not a Beyonce fan, right?
How can you not be a Beyonce fan?
I'm just not. But it is
I don't like Beyonce.
Church home here. Josh, you came through, man. I mean, you really showed your worth.
That's why I'm the intelligent one.
Where she is in the water, I don't know. Somebody from Beacon Light, Kevin from Beacon Light said hello.
Hey, Kev. Deuces, love you, baby.
I would live on my own GPS. Yeah, Houston is ridiculous. I don't know how anybody knows how to get around here.
Yeah.
LA is a big city, but there's
get
like
lost and then you start all over again.
I still don't know.
It's just like I feel like everyone's going. There's so many freeways.
It's a huge circle.
I had to get off the freeway, turn around, get on the freeway, go that. It's like, bro, I don't want to go nowhere no more.
Can you pick me up? Yeah.
No.
It's serious. Couple more questions, guys, about Hurricane Katrina, New Orleans. Is there public transit in Houston? I didn't see that much.
Yeah.
There is. It's the metro. The real
It's
question
not
is,
like Rita. It's not like
good?
the RTA.
Is it good public transportation?
Was Rita in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because ran all night.
But we have feeder roads. Yes, you do.
Here in
Houston.
Yeah.
Every city in Texas has those stupid roads that run along the side of the freeway. That you can basically go on the same speed as the freeway.
Those suck too.
Did you all go through counseling after Katrina?
Yes.
Did you?
You needed to. Are you kidding?
No, I just didn't know you did.
Post-traumatic.
Black people don't be doing counseling.
I know.
There's this girl I follow on Twitter, and she was like, she was saying like Katrina's like 10 or 11 years removed, and it might as well be like a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was born and raised in New Orleans, and that's the thing that like New Orleans, more than other cities, was a city where people were born and raised and generations stayed there. Like
people said, why didn't you leave, or how come you just didn't go to your mom's house? But the majority of people there, your mom lived right up the block.
Everybody lives there.
You know, or your family lived a few streets over. So when it took out your neighborhood, it took out everything.
That's
the
what people say, like
lived
Flint. Like, why don't
street.
you move from Flint? Like, bro, you think
the
people can
Duprees
move?
were the whole other side. It was Granny Bate, Uncle Otis's house. I forgot the folks on the end. The church was here. The church moved across the street, and everybody on the other side of Andrew on that block was the Duprees.
I can more or less
So
walk
when-
to my family.
When the storm hit, it took, and this is the lower 9.
Yeah.
They had nothing left.
What does that mean? No, lower 9, is that like a?
It's-
I've heard that's the 9th ward, right?
It's a ward.
And ward is that like a neighborhood or like a small county?
It's the neighborhood.
Okay.
So like when you like Irvin had the neighborhood over there, and
Yeah.
so I mean we would say by high schools, but for New Orleans it was the wards. So
like a district, basically,
Yes.
like a school district
Yes.
size.
or
Okay,
precinct.
Yeah.
got it. Okay, I never wanted to ask anybody that because I didn't know.
It's okay. You don't ask, you don't know.
Yes. Oh, Houston has wards too. I'm looking at
Yes, but
questions.
they
Yeah,
don't
Houston
call
has
them
wards.
wards. Not like
That's when Kirk Franklin's like 5th ward,
right,
4th ward.
right.
Our
But it's
wards
not
are
a big
cooler.
thing like it is in New Orleans.
I didn't know it. I didn't know what
Because
that
even though they have wards, they always talk about southwest side, southeast side, south side,
Yeah.
west side.
means. Somebody said, "How did your family help her?" I think you moved to El Paso for.
Man.
Oh, I was like,
How did
I didn't have no money at this
Michelle
time,
was still
so
going to college.
I was like,
Michelle was still
Michelle
in
was
high
still
school.
going to college.
Yeah.
The family helped, but
Hold on, that's what, 11 years?
Bethlehem Temple, Christ Temple, Apostolic.
Yeah.
They came through. They were
Right.
like,
I was 21, guys, and just newly married, so I had like $11. So,
but you know what? It wasn't about the finances. Some of the best help we received at that time, it wasn't about the money. It was when the pastor stands up and says, don't judge folks about how they're coming to church. Just be grateful that they
Yeah.
can even come in. So if they came in, without sleeves, it's okay. They're here.
right.
That was the kind of support we needed, knowing that you were still loved and still had a place to call home.
I would just like to say I love all my family and all the churches in El Paso, but El Paso is dusty, man. El Paso is dusty and boring.
El Paso is
I
like
love the mountains.
The mountains are the only good
it's
thing about
the worst
I love
ever.
Uncle
I wish
Joe.
my grandma would move.
Like El
I wish I
Paso is
could
better
do it.
now, but like before, the only thing there was to do in El Paso was to get pregnant. It's kind of sad.
I'm so
Good
glad
boy.
we moved.
I'm a boy. I can't get
Either
pregnant.
get somebody pregnant or get pregnant or get somebody pregnant or sell
Or
drugs or
look at
what
the
else.
mountains.
No more El Paso.
No more El Paso.
No more. That's Misty.
No more.
Misty from El Paso too. She knows.
Hashtag no
Thank
more
you.
El Paso.
Thank you, Misty. You're right.
Oh, Miss Ruby's in El Paso. No. More questions. I'm tired. I can't see good. Did she own a home in New Orleans before Katrina? If so, does she still have the property?
No, we do not still have the property. My ex-husband still has property.
Mhm.
But a lot of people, the property is just sitting.
But even with dad's property, like
Business.
or business.
Business. You're
Business.
telling.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry.
Oh, mind your business is what she's saying. I thought you were saying he owned a
You
business.
gotta
He
like
does.
articulate.
Shut up. I'll kill you on this pair. I will kill you on this pair. Say another word.
You're gonna kill me with
Let me-
chooses your life.
business. No, well, Dad, business. You're right. You're right. Let your mom talk, man. She knows what to say and what not to say. Kevin, you went. I'm tired and my contacts are dry, so I can't. When I'm tired, I can't see that good. But I meant to do this when we were in Thanksgiving for Las Vegas or whatever.
Yeah,
Las Vegas for Thanksgiving, but we ended up eating and watching the movie. Okay, more questions, guys. I'm sorry. Kev is ignoring us. That's my dad. No, Dad. In Fifth Ward on Cavalcade, but it's nice. Apostolic Temple.
Love you, Uncle.
Did you get compensation for your homes?
No.
Bi-
Stop, Joshua. So some people did. A lot of folks, the money was wasted. Issues.
They were?
A lot of issues came up because there were individuals who, there's always going to be unscrupulous individuals who pretended to be from New Orleans, and so it made it really hard for
come
people to get. No, really, it's documented. People pretended. Even when we were even when we were in El Paso, there were people who came off the street and didn't have anything, and they were like, yeah, we're from New Orleans. But, we were like,
come on,
first of
man.
So where'd you live? And they couldn't name anything.
What?
So the test for whether or not you're really from New Orleans is spell Chapatulas.
I don't even know what you said.
Exactly.
CHOPUTA.
Already wrong.
CHEAU.
Still wrong.
Really?
Yes.
CHAUX.
TCH.
Ah.
Exactly. And so people, they couldn't tell you.
TCH.
Couldn't spell Chapatulas.
I don't even.
You
What is that? A
New
flower?
Orleans.
Say baby. Baby. You ain't.
Right. If
Baby.
you say baby like that, you're not from New Orleans.
Were
If
they
you don't have to
stuck
be
in the
class
Superdome?
4,
I think you guys
No.
left before the Superdome, right?
left
we
before
we
that.
did have family and friends who were. I was on the phone with Auntie Lori when the tiles started falling,
Really?
and she was there working. That was way bad.
Wow.
So we heard that, and then
She
the
was
phones
working
went out.
where? What was she
At the
doing?
dome. She was security, police.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh man.
Is she there still?
Yeah, she's back.
She's back? And Sheila?
No, she was in Chicago.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, more questions, guys. A couple more minutes. I worked at the Dome as well. Oh, wow, Dr. Divinity. I got to hold this close. Would you ever return? She said no, she wouldn't return because it's not the same.
True.
She said that a little earlier. A couple more questions. Good night, fam on stage. Good night.
Good night.
Chapatulas is an Indian tribe?
Yes. And it's
I
an
would have.
Indian word.
You could have gave me $1,000. Somebody just spelled it.
They spelled it for you?
Never in a
And
million
they
years.
put the T at the beginning?
Yeah,
Okay.
TCHOPOLUS.
They
Jay or
are
Kevin?
true New Orleans.
I look like Kevin, but my problem is Jay named his son Joshua, and I was the only Joshua, so it's Kevin.
I'm more universally loved in this family. I just want people to know that. Was Lil Wayne out there helping?
Josh, you just answer things that are not true. It's
Business.
Like, right. So people ask questions like that, but how do you help when?
I don't think Lil Wayne can save a whole city.
Okay, but your house gone too. Your Nana house gone too, right? Ain't nobody got anything, but we all supposed to be trying to help each other. That's what we did.
Right.
We watched CNN and, oh my God, there's that person. Oh my God, there's that person. We're picking up the phone trying to call and let people know your family is okay. We had signs on the base in San Antonio that had our family name on one side and the church name on the other side, so that when the people came in, they would know that there's someone there that they know. Because they were just getting bused. The buses had names like, you're going to Washington, you're going to Atlanta, but you really went wherever the buses went. There were people who were stranded out on the highway, pregnant women out on the highway. We went to go help pick people up. So, you don't get to say it's been 10 years and it's been long enough. We're embarking on another year. It hasn't been long enough. You tell someone who has survived Vietnam or World War II that it's been enough years. Tell that to the Jews who survived the Holocaust. It's been long enough. We always have to be the ones to just let it go. It's not time to let it go.
Right.
It's time to help us rebuild. And we don't rebuild by saying that it's been long enough. You don't rebuild by saying you should have left, because at the end of the day, it was a Category 1 when it left Florida, and that's why people didn't leave.
Right.
You can say what you want to say. Yes, by the time we realized that it was picking up speed and it was moving again and it had grown huge again, it was too late. So it wasn't, yes, there were the idiots who threw hurricane parties and they just didn't want to leave.
Right.
But New Orleans wasn't set up like that.
Right.
So when you're looking at a community as a whole, where there are so many individuals who are living in such, oh my goodness, the poverty level, right?
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with individuals who are totally dependent upon the mass transit, right? Public transportation, there were no buses. Everyone says, well, they could have done that.
I don't think people understand
The infrastructure of cities. And
infrastructure of cities, and if you don't have money, there's a lot of stuff you can do that if you don't have money, you can't do.
But even if they got on the bus, where are they going to take them?
That's what I'm saying.
We
Like,
got
if you
people
don't
out
have
here
no,
in
if
Houston.
everyone you know lives here,
Right.
and even if someone you knew doesn't live here, if you don't have no money to get anywhere, it ain't that easy. I think people just think it's that easy. You know, and that's New Orleans, that's Flint, that's lately been bothering me about Flint. Like, why don't you just move? Do you
Where
think
they gonna
people
go?
want to live in Flint?
And drink brown water?
You think they would love, let me just move. I have a job. My wife has a job. I can't just move across the street. I got to set some things up. I don't have first and last. I can't just move like that.
Right.
That just bothers me.
That's just not how things work.
It's expensive to move. Somebody just said that.
It is very
It is.
expensive.
You have to plan for it. I don't have money.
And if you have children, that's a whole nother ballgame. Where are they going to go to school? Are they going to a school that has uniforms?
Right.
Or are they going to a school where they're just in regular clothes?
Your entire family. That's like when we lived in El Paso. When we all lived in El Paso, everybody I knew lived in El Paso.
Right.
So if something were to happen, I'd be like, well, I don't know no one. I don't know anybody else who doesn't live here.
Yeah.
We all are stuck. All right, a couple more questions, guys. Because my contacts is dry, and I don't want my aunt to cry anymore. How does she feel about Ray Nagin?
I feel like, unfortunately, he got caught up in the game, but Ray was good people.
Ray got caught up in like some political stuff, like embezzling or whatever.
Right.
They talked about that in Tremaine.
That's what they say. I mean, but at the end of the day, everybody has their hand in everybody else's pocket.
Hey.
That's part of politics.
Yes.
People got mad because he said he just wanted his chocolate city back, and people didn't understand. But chocolate comes in white chocolate too. All y'all getting them Kit Kats and Hershey's. So I'm just saying, it's all. He just wanted New Orleans back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're never gonna have that again.
No, it'll be. And this is the thing. We went there last summer for vacation after I was here, and they had a Katrina tour, and I was just like,
Oh, what?
a Katrina tour. You can pay like $30 and they'll take you to like all the abandoned houses and stuff. And I'm like,
That's somebody's.
right. That's not like.
I told
It's
you.
not the equivalent of going to like an alligator tour. Like, hey, let's go look at. And that's the part I
doing
didn't
the
talk about.
Hollywood tours. It's
Yeah.
not the same thing. People lost their lives.
The thing about New Orleans that we don't talk about, and this is what I watched from Spike Lee's documentary, it didn't have to be like that.
Right.
Like there was some human, not only error, but like it's just like Flint. It was like there were some decisions made for profit, and there was people making decisions based off money and not factoring in that people's
lives.
People's
Right.
lives are literally in danger.
What was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Collateral Damage.
Yeah.
Wasn't it his
Yeah,
movie?
yeah.
That's.
And that's what happened in Flint too. Like people said, let's
Exactly.
save money, and as long as I don't have to, I keep bringing up Flint because they're
As long as
very.
I don't have to drink the water.
As long as I don't have to drink the water, like they were pouring chemicals from the
And they knew.
car,
And they knew.
the car plants,
And they knew.
and they were just like, bro, I don't live in Flint, and that's
And
how it
they
is for
knew.
New Orleans. They're like, people were. I was like, that's when the levees broke. Most of the documentary is about how the Department of Engineers, the government Department of Engineers, it started way before 2005.
Oh my goodness! When we were living in New Orleans East, and we would go to visit some friends who lived uptown, they had the Army Corps of Engineers, rebuilding and buffering the levee. This was years prior to Hurricane Katrina, so there were too many. There were a lot of factors. It wasn't just error.
Yeah.
It had a lot to do with hand and pockets.
Absolutely.
They just didn't think it was going to get that big.
They didn't think it was going to be that big. Somebody said, how long did it take you guys to get out?
To leave the city?
Yeah.
Well, we left after the curfew, when you weren't supposed to leave, when they had shut the highways down, but looked at the screen and said, okay, well, we're not dying tonight, so we're leaving.
Oh, my God.
And we got on the freeway, and the troopers were so angry. It's like, you cannot be on the road. Well, we can't be in the city, so you're going to tell us how to go?
It's going to be one or the other.
Right? And so...
And I ain't going back.
Exactly. And you couldn't go back, so they just directed us, back in, and I don't remember how many hours. It was almost as long as the storm prior to. Because remember, there was a storm in 2004, and it took us forever to get from, because they had us go backwards. You know, they had that contraflow. And it took us, Beaumont is 4 hours from New Orleans. So it actually took us 24 hours to get from our house in Harahan, which is right outside of New Orleans, to Jean's house in Beaumont. Normally it took us
24
hours.
And
oh
took
my
us
God.
8 hours to get a 30-minute drive from New Orleans to Slidell.
And
Yes, that's how heavy the traffic
8
was.
hours to Slidell?
30-minute drive over that little bridge. But that's how heavy the traffic was.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So when people ask, why didn't you leave for Katrina?
Oh my
People have to
God.
remember just the year before.
Right.
That's what we faced. And a few weeks prior to that, seriously, a few weeks prior to that, they had Tropical Storm Cynthia, and everyone rushed out of New Orleans, and we were in not Houma. We were in Hammond, Louisiana, and got hit worse with the storm in Hammond, which is, you know, a little further north. And New Orleans, they chilling. So by the time, a couple of weeks later...
So there's no real way to know when it's the big one, because it's all the big ones.
It's always the big one. It's always the big one. And then it hits the city as a Category 1, and you're like, man, I just should have stayed.
Because it takes money and time and loss of work and all that stuff.
Exactly. You don't, and folks, and if you don't work an hourly job, you know.
Right.
So you don't know what to do. So everyone was ready to leave, and then we didn't have to leave. So
Wow.
It was difficult. It was difficult.
Wow.
Josh, get that plug over there for Kevin.
Any more questions, guys? I feel like an old man trying to read these. Y'all got any? What is it? What y'all say about the storm? Oh my God, I don't know what the storm. No, people don't understand us. They live in. This is somewhat more informative.
Okay.
Did you guys have to deal with any profiling when you first moved to Houston?
yes.
Absolutely.
Thanks, cousin Joshua.
Absolutely. And
You're
they
welcome, not my nephew, not my
really, really do not understand. They don't take into consideration that there was actually a documentary from Houston, HPD, and they said it was false when they said that the crime increased in Houston.
That was false?
They said, okay, so
I've heard that.
crime
Like,
rate-
Crime did increase.
but it wasn't that.
but it wasn't a causal. It wasn't a
Right.
direct result
It was-
of people moving to
exactly.
Florida.
It was just now
prime-
there's more people, and if
Just
you
by
have more
nature,
criminals,
yeah.
but it wasn't that. Oh, and so where a lot of things were just blamed on folks from New Orleans, folks from New
Wow.
Orleans. We were looking
I
at a
gotta be
house
honest with
in
you.
this neighborhood, and the lady told me, "Well, things were. It's better now, but it was really bad after the storm. The storm? You mean No, Katrina. Well, how long have you been here? Now, mind you."
Right.
She didn't know that we got here because of Hurricane
Right.
Katrina. And so I asked her, how long have you been in the neighborhood? About 3 years. Okay, but wasn't Hurricane Katrina 10 years ago? So what do
Yeah.
you mean? Oh, well, that's what they told me. So now people regurgitate.
I definitely
the
thought
lies.
that was true.
No.
I think I've heard that every time except
you
right
do,
now.
You do. But if you would allow, not you, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
individuals
yeah.
would allow themselves to be educated and not just regurgitate lies and innuendos and actually find facts on things, you would know that the police themselves said that wasn't true.
Wow.
So the way the media portrayed things was like,
Absolutely.
we just all a bunch of thugs. Nah, it's not that we're just thuggish, but here's the thing. Don't come for me lest I send for you. So if you're going to come at me,
Right.
you can't be upset because I'm going to protect myself.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
talking about we don't know anything or we don't have any education or we just break that down. What
Right.
do you have? You know?
Wow. It's a good old media, man.
Gotta love them.
Good old media, boy. They tell you something and
They
you
asked me about